So we are chatting about perimeter today. So can someone put their hand up, or you can put it in the chat and answer for me, what is perimeter? Like, what do I mean when I say perimeter? What am I looking for? Pop it in the chat. You can raise your hand. I know someone somewhere knows what perimeter is. Yay. So Bang, what is perimeter?
Perimeter, ma'am, is the distance of on the outside of a shape.
Excellent, well done. So perimeter is basically the distance or the length along the outside lines of my shape. All right, so it is the distance or the length around a shape. And we can find perimeter by adding these outside lengths together. Now, if you struggle with perimeter, sometimes it's quite useful to have like a highlighter or like a colored pen or pencil or something, just to like be able to highlight for yourself where the perimeter is, especially when the shapes get a little bit more complicated. We're going to start off nice and easy, but if it does get more complicated, sometimes it's useful for you to highlight around the perimeter. I'm going to do that in all of the questions so that we know what we're talking about. But essentially, as Tabanga said, it is the distance or the length around the outside of a shape. Okay, so I always think about perimeter is if I had a garden this shape and I wanted to put a fence around the garden, I'm looking at the length of fencing that I would need. Alrighty, so here we've got our first, actually, no, I moved on a bit quickly. If you would like to take a screenshot, I will wait for a couple seconds for you to take your screenshot. And then we'll have a look at our first example. Okay. Right, so here's our first example. In all of these examples, we're going to work out the perimeter of the shapes I give you. In this first example, I've got a rectangle. I know it's a rectangle because I've got those 90-degree angles. And so what do I then know about opposite lengths in a rectangle? So what do I know about the length opposite the 15 centimeters and the length opposite the 5 centimeters? Palesa, oh, English. Yeah.
Opposite sides are equal.
Excellent. Excellent. So in a rectangle, I know that my sides opposite each other are equal in length. And so this side down at the bottom is also 15 centimeters, and this side down on the right is 5 centimeters. Once I know all of the lengths of the outside of my shape, I can now go work out my perimeter. So my perimeter is the length around the outside of the shape that I'm highlighting in purple. And again, I think of it like a garden fence. If I want to fence off this rectangle, what is the length I need? And so now all we need to do is, my English tonight. All we need to do to find our perimeter is we need to add all 4 of these side lengths together. So perimeter, we can use a P to represent. The perimeter in this case is 15 plus 5 plus 15 plus 5. And that gives me a total of 40 centimeters. So the perimeter of this rectangle is 40 centimeters. Now you can sort of do it a little bit differently in terms of your operations. Because you've got 2 15 centimeters, you could say your perimeter is 2 times 15 plus your 2 5 centimeters, so 2 times 5. It gives you exactly the same answer. So if you write it down a bit differently to what I've written down, that's fine. As long as you are taking into account all of your side lengths, you are working out your perimeter. Right, so hopefully nothing too complicated there, but if you do have a question, please pop it in the chat or raise your hand. Otherwise, take your screenshot and let's have a look at another type of shape where we need to work out the perimeter.
Yeah, also my pebs.
Alrighty, guys, so here I've got a triangle. Now remember, the perimeter is the outside length of the shape. Right, so again, highlight in purple, I want the outside length of this, outside length of the shape. Okay. Oh. Okay, we have a volume issue. What I want you to do, guys, is I want you to think about, do you have all three lengths for this triangle? You can just pop in the chat yes or no. Do you have all three lengths? Good. Okay, so I'm seeing lots of no's, which is excellent. We are missing the length RQ. Now again, pop it in the chat. How can I go and work out the length RQ? What do I know about finding lengths in right-angled triangles? What method can I use to go and work out that length? Nice, guys. We can use Pythagoras. Okay,
My pebs.
right, Emmanuel, do you want to walk us through what we need to do here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And hi.
you're rebelling.
No, ma'am. No,
Okay,
not today.
tonight. Okay, cool.
Ma'am. So I said, I gave the hypotenuse. What do you call it? I gave it a variable, ma'am. I
Okay, what
gave
did
it
you
r.
do? Okay.
R. So
Okay.
I said r squared equals 8 squared plus 6 squared, and then I
Perfect.
said r equals r squared equals r equals square root of 8 squared plus 6 squared.
Okay.
And then I said r equals 10.
Okay, hang on for 2 seconds for me. So guys, what we do here is we would say 8 squared plus 6 squared on our calculator. That gives us 100. And then because I don't want r squared, I actually want r. I need to square root both sides. So this is why Emmanuel is saying that we get 10 centimeters. Okay, so now I know that this length RQ or R is 10 centimeters. Cool, Emmanuel, carry on.
Ma'am, I'm done.
Oh, okay, sorry. Can you tell me what the perimeter is now? Or can you tell me how to work out the perimeter?
Oh, yes, ma'am. So I say P equals 8 plus 6 plus 10.
Perfect. And that is a total of?
8 plus 6 plus 10. 24.
Perfect. Well done. Centimeters. Fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty, guys. So sometimes what happens, and often what happens with right-angled triangles is they won't give you one of the lengths. So like I've done here, they will leave off one of the side lengths, and you will first need to do Pythagoras, and then you will have to work out perimeter. And this often happens with right-angled triangles. So just bear in mind that if you don't have all of the lengths for your shape, you might need to go and work it out. And as you do, oh, yes, guys, I'm sorry, it's been a day. As Yolanda has said on the chat, please don't forget your units. This triangle has been measured in centimeters, and so your final answer needs to have centimeters as its unit. Otherwise, it's meaningless. 24 what? Carrots, bananas, pumpkins? What is it? It's 24 centimeters. Alrighty, so hopefully we're feeling fine with that. Do take a screenshot if you need. Little Otlo, do you have a question? Hopefully the sound's now working.
Yeah, it should work now. So Letlotlo, what you need on your side is that you need to click on that sort of a pop-up box there. Just click on it so you can talk to us, okay? While Letlotlo is figuring that one out, Lilita, is that a question?
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to ask if, even if we're doing perimeter and we have to do Pythagoras first, do you still have to give a reason?
Yeah. Anytime we use Pythagoras, we should give Pythagoras as a reason.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure. I've seen Cassidy's, oh, Yolanda's on it. It can be any units, guys. Centimeters, meters, kilometers, millimeters, any units. You must just look at the question in order to decide which it should be. Tabang, have you got a question for us?
Yes, ma'am. Please don't shout at me, ma'am. But how did you get 100, ma'am?
I'm glad you at least know who I am as a person now. You guys are on the same wavelength. We're there, right? I'm not going to shout. Not yet, anyways. So how we got 100 is basically we just said 8 squared plus 6 squared. If you type that into your calculator, you get 100. You get 100 because it is 64 plus 36, and that added together does give me 100.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Clearly, my sparkling personality is shining through because you guys know I'll shout. Okay. Righto. Helen? Helen, do you have a question for us?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, instead of putting the r squared, can I put rq squared?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Emmanuel just used a variable. You could use x squared. I would have used rq squared as well. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Pleasure. Yo, guys, today, I threatened to leave one of my classes today. That's where I'm at. I told them I'd pack up and go home. Okay. Try question C.
We're nearly there.
They just were annoying me so much. And I was just like, I will pack up and I will leave.
At
Teach
least we have
yourself.
nice learners, yeah, online.
Well, exactly. Thank
But
heavens for
these
you
learners
guys.
don't even want to make you angry. They tell you, don't be angry, ma'am.
Alrighty, guys. So have a try of question C by yourselves. And if and when you have an answer for me, you can put it in the chat or you can raise your hand. I already see lots of hands here. And let's see how we go. Ooh. Remember your units with your answer. If I was your teacher, I would take off a mark for no units. So just make sure you do put your units with your answer. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Tanankosi, do you want to tell us how we can find the perimeter of the shape? Tanankosi? Oh, no, sorry. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi. You there with us?
Ma'am, yes.
Okay.
Ma'am, the answer is 34
Perfect.
centimeters.
Keep going.
Ma'am, I said 12 plus 5 plus 12 plus 5. It gave me 34 centimeters.
Well
Perfect.
done.
Okay. Now, guys, what's really important is, as Tanankosi said, we've got two 12 centimeters and we've got two 5 centimeters. This is illustrated to me by these little like tick marks on the line. Because there's two strike marks on each of those lines, they are the same length. And the same thing goes for the 5 centimeters. There's one strike mark on that side and one strike mark on this side. So both of them are 5 centimeters. And so what that means is that I do actually have all 4 sides of the shape. And so I can add them together to find my perimeter. And so my perimeter, as Tanankosi said, is 34 centimeters when I add them all up. Out of interest, you can just put it in the chat. Don't have to raise your hand. What sort of shape is the shape in question C? Anyone know what sort of shape this is? What sort of quad? Excellent, guys. It's a kite. Well done. I know it's a kite because one of the defining characteristics of a kite is that adjacent sides are equal in length. And those adjacent sides are then different. So here we've got the two 12s and we've got the two 5s. Adjacent means they're next to each other. So here the 12s are next to each other. And then on the other side, the two 5 centimeters are next to each other. So adjacent sides are equal in length. And so this is indeed a kite. Excellent, guys. Well done. Alrighty, so let's see how we go with this one. We struggled a little bit in the last class. So I'm going to let you guys try it by yourselves and we'll see where we get to. I just need to try and get the whole question onto the screen. I feel like that's fine. Let's just make sure. Yes, right. The perimeter of the square below is 32 centimeters. Determine the value of y, the length of the sides of the square. So basically what I'm telling you is that the whole perimeter, I'm giving it to you. Oh, technology in me today. I'm giving you this whole perimeter and I'm telling you that it's 32 centimeters. I want to know what the length of one side of the square is. So I want you to give it a try. I'm going to give you like a minute or two to sort of see what you can get. And then we'll go through it. Hopefully someone's got an answer and we'll go through it and see how we would do that. Oh, lovely. Sasha, do you want to tell us?
Hi.
Hi.
Because a square, well, all sides are equal,
Good.
I said y is equal to 32 divided by 4. Y is equal to 8 centimeters.
Fantastic. Well done. Right. So guys, what Sasha said at the start is really important. A square has 4 equal sides. And because all of those sides are equal, I can divide my perimeter by 32. Now, if that's not really making sense for you, we could set this up algebraically. Because I know that all 4 sides are exactly the same, I could set up an expression. I know y plus y plus y plus y must give me the 32 centimeter perimeter, right? That's a fact. I know this because it's a square. Now, all of these y's are like terms. So what I have here is 4y is equal to 32. Now, we know that to solve for y, I would have to divide both sides by 4. And so 32 divided by 4 is 8, which is exactly what I did in the step over here. So you don't have to set up an expression like that. You can if you want to. But what is really important, as Sasha said, is a square, I nearly said a fair, a square has 4 equal sides. And because of that, we can divide 32 by 4. All right, so have a think about that. If you have a question, please do raise your hand. Tendo, is that a question? Tendo, do you have a question for us? Or
No, ma'am.
okay, no problem. Right, so you guys got that nice and easy. So I'm gonna give you a slightly harder one. I'm just gonna scroll on over here. Right, I'm gonna type it just because my writing is not great. Okay, right, so this is question E. The perimeter of a 2 ticks of a rectangle is 24 centimeters. Oh, sorry, everyone. Panic, 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 panic. It's all fine. This is my daily life. 24 centimeters. The length of the square, not the square, the rectangle, is double the width, or you can say breadth, I don't really mind, is double the width of the rectangle. determine for me the length and the width. We'll get it right eventually. Or breadth, you can use either one. This is a little bit trickier. I'm going to let you try it by yourselves. If you are feeling stuck, my advice is draw a picture for yourself. And the important sentence here that you need to sort of take away with you is the fact that the length is double the width. And I want from you the length and the width. So give it a try. It is a little bit trickier, but have a go, see what you come up with. On the chat, put your answers as length equals and width equals or breadth equals. So you can even use L and W, and you can put your answers there for me. But let's see what we come up with. Remember, if you want to check yourself, make sure that when you add up your answers for the perimeter, you're getting the perimeter that I gave you, which is 24 centimeters. So make sure you are getting 24 here. Those of you saying 6 and 12, I want you to go and check. If you're telling me that your length is 12 and your width is 6, does that give you 24 when you add them up? Oh, shoot. Right, there we go. Okay, I'm going to pick on Sammy just because I saw the answer was correct. So Sammy, what do we do?
Ma'am, I don't really have a method for this one, but I said
Okay.
I was thinking about the question where it's like double. So I just manually thought that the smaller side should be or the length. I'm pretty sure. Ma'am, which is the length and width again?
Length is the longer one, width is the shorter one. So this is the length.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so I was thinking it was going to be 10 2, the length was going to be 10 and the width was going to be 2. But
Okay.
then I remember when you said it was going to be double. So I said, okay, it'll be 8 and 4 in particular. But there's a method I did use, but it's okay, man.
Okay, right. But your answer is absolutely fine. And guys, for something like this, like it is like a tricky one. And I'm asking you to, give it a try. So there's a couple different ways that you, yeah, exactly. Pun intended. So I'm asking you to try. So let's chat about, oh golly, Miss Molly. Let's chat about how you could do this sort of with algebra if we wanted to. Now, I told you specifically that the length is double the width. So this length here is 2 times longer than what the width is. So if we say that the width is X centimeters, we know it's the same on both sides. And so that then means that my length is double that. So it's 2x, and that's on both sides. And so what that means is, again, like we spoke about with the square, we could set up an equation. I know that x plus 2x plus x plus 2x must give me 24. And from this point, all of these terms here on the left are like terms. So x plus 2x plus x plus 2x gives me 6x is equal to 24. And to then solve for x, I would divide both sides by 6. And we know that 24 divided by 6 gives me 4. Now, remember we said that we are saying that the breadth is equal to 4 centimeters. And so what that means is that I now know each of these are 4 centimeters. And as Sammy said, if the length is now double that, 4 times 2, or double 4, is then 8 centimeters. And so my length here is 8 centimeters. If I go and check myself, 8 plus 4 plus 8 plus 4, I do get 24 centimeters. And so I've correctly worked out my length and breadth here. Okay, that was a tricky one. I by all means tried to challenge you there, but you did really, really nicely. So well done. Helen, do you have a question before we take a quick break?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, so how I did it, I said 24 divided by 3, but I don't know how I got the 3.
I don't know how you got the 3 either.
Yes, and then I said it gave me an 8. Then I said 8 divided by 2, and then it gave me 4.
So you said,
Yeah,
so you
that's
said
how I got
20.
my answer.
Okay, so let me just go back. What was the first step you said again?
24 divided by 3.
38. 24 divided by 3 gave you 8.
Yeah, sorry. Is that logically we're dealing with a rectangle, right? So this is not a square. That's why you have to think carefully in a way. So I think sticking to what teacher Sam has explained, it would really help you. I think teacher Sam, I think the answer was gotten by a coincidence, not because the logic is correct.
Yeah.
Like, so the thing is, Helen, like, you definitely could do it another way. I don't really want to overcomplicate it, but you definitely could use 3x, but you wouldn't be using 24. So I think, yeah, like Yolanda says, there was a bit of luck there. But yeah, think of it in terms of like all of your sides together.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Well done, though. Right, guys, very nicely done. Well done on trying that. Let us take a little break before we continue on with this fun journey. So here's our break. I even found a perimeter joke to link in with perimeter. Alrighty. So we're gonna do the brain break as we've been doing recently. First person to get the right answer, you're gonna explain it to us. Take a careful look. Think about what's double, what's not double, what your operations are. Laugh at my joke so that I don't get cross. You know, don't want to shout because you're not laughing at my joke. And then let's see. I'm also joking, guys. I would never shout at you for not laughing at my jokes. Some of these jokes are very corny. Oh,
this one is really funny. I did laugh at that one. Let's see, my peeps, who's gonna get the answer first? Let's see. We want the final answer.
Okay, and put your answer in the chat so that we know who to pick on. So
yeah.
not pick on, so that we know who to ask to give us the answer. You can see I'm in a bad mood with my students.
Let's go, my peeps. Let's see. Emmanuel, please put your answer on the chat, and then we'll let you know whether you got it right or wrong. We'll definitely let you know. So it will be good to give the final answer. Okay, so your explanation, if you have the final right answer, you can explain to the whole class on how did you get it. But we need the final answer. Sasha, I see you over there. Hopefully you are calculating. Palesa, I see you. So guys, those are just hints that you're giving other learners. So if I was you, I was gonna work it out on my book because I'm too stingy and I see that you guys are like so nice, but I'm like, no.
Yo, I would be exactly
get it first. Yeah, I wasn't gonna share anything. So we want to see the final answer. Okay, my peeps. Let's go. Sasha is on it. She's calculating. I can see.
I'll definitely tell you guys this, because I like this class so much. You definitely make me a much nicer teacher the next day. I'm usually such a horrible, like very strict, but you make me nicer. So you guys are doing a good job.
Hey, look at that. Well done, yo, I don't know how to pronounce that. Samiesh? No.
Sammy.
Sammy, well done. Sammy, do you want to raise your hand so you can explain to teacher Sam how you got it and the class? Well done, Sammy. There we go.
Hello, ma'am, again.
Hello.
Okay, so how I got it was first I divided 24 by 6 and convenient it got me 4. And then I said 4 from the strawberry. I'm pretty sure divided by I said the limits were 8.
Okay.
And then the apples were 7, if I'm correct. Yeah, they were 7.
One apple was 7.
Yeah, one apple 7. So both of them would be 14.
Good. And so 2 lemons would be
16.
good.
And so I said 8 plus 8, because 2 strawberries is 8,
Good.
times 2 apples, which would be 14.
Perfect. And which one do we do first? Which operation?
We do multiplication first.
Good. And what is 8 times 14?
8 times 14 is 120. 112.
112. And so 8 plus 112 is?
120.
Excellent. Well done. Right, guys. So there you have it. Your answer is indeed 120. I found it quite interesting that Sammy did the division for the first step a little bit differently. So he saw that there were actually 6 strawberries in total. So if we divide by 6, we're getting the value of 1 strawberry. So each strawberry is 4, which is why we know that together 2 strawberries is 8. And so we can keep going from there. But that was quite interesting. I haven't ever thought of doing it like that. So well done. Alrighty, guys, if you want to take a screenshot of this, by all means do. Otherwise, I'm going to move on along to our next perimeter question. I just want to see what okay, we do have some nice challenging ones. Alrighty. So I want you to try. I want you to try this question A by yourselves. So it says the perimeter of the parallelogram.
Nearly there. It's just that we are nearly there.
I will get there. The perimeter of the parallelogram below is 50 centimeters. Determine the length of X. Now, it's going to be very useful to you if you know some of the properties of the sides of a parallelogram. So I'm telling you that that perimeter is 50. And can someone maybe raise their hand, maybe just to help us out a bit? What property do I know about the sides opposite each other in a parallelogram? Zali, what do we know?
Ma'am, the sides opposite each other in a parallelogram, ma'am, are equal.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm not even going to write anything down. Zali's helped us out here. Opposite sides in a parallelogram are equal. So take that hint and see if you can find for me the length of X. So I want X in this question.
Yeah, we can do this, my babes. Let's go.
Remember your units, guys. It's in centimeters. I know it seems like a very silly thing, but whenever we're talking about distances and lengths and stuff, there are units to it. So we do need to put our units in our answer. So don't forget that. Nice, guys. Well done. Lufuno, do you want to tell us how we can do this?
Yes, ma'am. So what I did was, since the perimeter is 50 centimeters and we're working with the parallelogram, you would take 10 and multiply it by 2 to get 20. So you'd say
Okay.
50 minus 20 equals 30, and then 30 divided by 2 to get 15. So x is equal to 15.
Fantastic. Oh, I nearly forgot my units after I just shouted at you for it. Excellent. Ifuno, well done. Thank you very much. So, guys, we don't have to set it up with algebra. Essentially, what we know is that the two sides opposite each other are equal. So we know we've got two 10-centimeter sides. And if I take that off of my 50, I get what is left. So basically, what is the length of x plus x? And because those lengths are the same, we can divide it by 2 in order to get one length. Now, you don't have to do it like that. If you want to set it up with algebra, you can. And when I say algebra, you can use your x's. If we wanted to do that, we know that x plus 10 plus x plus 10 must give me the 50-centimeter perimeter. When I add my like terms, I get 2x plus 20 equals 50. If I subtract 20 on both sides, I end up with that 50 minus 20, which we had over here. So we're on the right track. And so 2x is equal to 30. I'm just going to carry on the side here. And now in order to solve for x, I know that I need to divide both sides by 2 in order to get x alone. And so we get that x is equal to 15 centimeters. So it's a little bit longer because we've got all this algebra that we need to do. And eventually sort of this algebraic method is where you need to be working to, because eventually we're going to expect you to come up with these equations and solve them according to a word problem. But it is sort of also important to understand why we do what we do. So why did we subtract 20? Why are we dividing by 2, etc., etc. All right, so if you need to take a screenshot of that, there it is. You guys are doing so nicely tonight. Very proud of you. And then we're going to have a look at a shape that has its own special formula to work out its perimeter. And we actually don't call it a perimeter, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so again, take your screenshots. Right, let's have a look. So our next shape that we're going to chat about is a circle. Now, you don't have to raise your hands, just put it in the chat. Does anyone know, or can anyone tell me what we call the perimeter of a circle? I might have just given it away, but it's fine. What do we call the perimeter of a circle? We've got a special word for it. We don't call it the perimeter. What do we call it? Don't worry about spelling. It's not exactly the easiest one to spell. Lolita, do you want to tell us?
Ma'am, it's called the circumference.
Fantastic. Well done. Okay, so guys, the perimeter of a circle, we don't call it a perimeter, but this outside length of a circle is called the circumference. Oh. It's going badly. It is called. Right. Circumference. I'm impressed with your spelling because mine has not been on it today. Right. So anytime I ask you for the circumference, I'm looking for the outside length of a circle. So before we sort of get to what that formula is, just because I saw these terms come up on the chat, let's just distinguish what circumference, diameter, and radius mean. So if we draw a circle for ourselves, because I'm lazy, I'm just going to do it like that. The first thing that we need to be mindful of is the fact that this outside length, like I say, is called the circumference. Okay. Any line that is drawn from the center of your circle to the circumference is called the radius. Okay. And then finally, 2 radii make up a diameter, and this is essentially because a diameter runs through the center of the circle, touching either side of the circumference. So this blue line here is my diameter. And what we need to bear in mind is that 2 radii or 2 radiuses, plural of radiuses, radii, make 1 diameter. And hopefully this will now make sense in terms of the formula that we use. Okay, so Uyanda's put on the chat there, in order to work out the circumference of a circle, we have got a special formula that we need to use. And so the circumference of a circle is found using 2 pi r. That is the formula that we need to know. You can also use pi d, where d is the diameter, and this makes sense. 2r is 2 radii, and we've just said that 2 radii make up 1 diameter. So either, what are they called? Either formula is absolutely fine. So either 2 pi r or pi d will get you the circumference of the circle, because essentially they mean exactly the same thing. Right now, I'm going to try to show you how to do this on a calculator. Not everyone has the same calculator as me, and so I completely understand that. Some of you might not have a pi button on your calculator, which is also fine. Your teachers would have then told you at school what number to use for pi. So some of you will have been told different things. You must use what you have been told to use. But pi is 3,141529, and it goes on forever. So some of you might have been told to use 3,14. Some of you might have been told to use 3,142. Whatever you've been told to use, that's what you use. Okay, so quickly back to this formula. Circumference 2 pi r. The formula pi r squared is for area. It is not for circumference. So that will be a different calculation when we get to area. So if you want the outside length, 2 pi r. Okay, so let's try to do this on a calculator. Hopefully you can see what's going on. So we need to know the radius of our circle. Now we do know the radius because that's been given to me in my diagram. It's 4. So I need to type on my calculator 2 times pi times my radius, which is 4. Now, remember, just because I haven't put the multiplication signs in the purple bit doesn't mean they aren't there. We're timesing everything. So on my calculator, I don't know how this is going to work. We're going to say 2 times, there we go. Now, if you have a Casio, your pi button is above this times 10 to the x. Now it's in yellow, so you're going to have to use shift. So we're going to go shift pi, and my pi symbol comes up. If you don't have a Casio calculator and you have like a Sharp or some other type of calculator, your pi button might be somewhere else, or you are using the numbers that your teachers have told you to use, 3,14 or 3,142. You just type that in depending on what you've been told to do. If you're using the pi button on a Casio like mine, shift pi, yours might be somewhere else. Now I still have to say times my radius, which is 4. Sorry, I don't really know my calculator backwards. So 2 times pi times 4. And then I've typed everything in so I can push equals and I get my answer. So my answer that I get here is 8 pi. Now, that means nothing to me. This is a length. I want it in numbers, right? Now, what we need to remember is that pi is actually a number. It's just a number that never ends. And so we use a symbol to represent it, because I can't write a number that never ends. I'll be writing forever. And so on your calculator, some of you have a button that says SD, or a button that allows you to convert to a decimal, or your calculator automatically gives you a decimal. And so if I go and push that button to convert it to a decimal, I get an answer of 25,13274123. Okay, I'm not going to write down all of that. I'm going to write down some so that we can chat about rounding off. So what did I say? 25,1327, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, often they'll tell you to round off your answer. If I tell you to round your answer to 2 decimal places, which 9 times out of 10 we do, we look at the 3rd decimal place, which is a 2. That is going to have no effect on the 3. It is a number less than 5. 2 is less than 5. So rounding this off to 2 decimal places is 25,13 centimeters. I know it's centimeters because that's the units I was working in. Remember your units, but if I want to round off, it is 25,13. So I know that was a lot of talking and it was a lot of like showing you weird calculator stuff. Can you just put a thumbs up, thumbs down if you're happy with what I've said here about how to use the circumference formula?
Nice, my pibs. Nice one.
Nice, guys. Good. Okay, so that means I can give you a bit of a challenge. Wonderful. If you're not feeling comfortable, guys, don't stress. We're going to do lots of these, but let's see how we manage with this one. This next one. We'll get there. Right, so I want you to try C and D for me. Now, what I need you to be careful of is, firstly, in C, I've given you the whole diameter. So that means that when you use your formula, let's maybe go like this, so you can still see the formula, you need to be careful. If you're going to use the formula with radius, you need to first work out the radius. Otherwise, you use the pi d formula. In question D, I've only got half a circle there. And remember, if I want the perimeter, I'm asking for the half circle and that straight line at the bottom there. D is a tricky one, but give it a try. We don't get to D, don't stress, we will do it on Monday, but I want you to try those two for me. I've left the formulas up here for you so that you can see them. And you can put your answers in the chat with C and D. I'm going to give everyone like 2 or so minutes and then we'll see where we're at. Oops. Don't forget your units and your answer. Alessa, do you want to give us an answer?
Ma'am, I said 15 times pi.
Okay.
And ma'am, it gave me 15 times pi, and then I simplified it and then gave me 47.12 milliliters.
Perfect. So guys, in this case, Palesa's actually used the second form of the formula, which is fine. I gave you the diameter, so use that one. You don't have to then do anything. So pi times 15 exactly gives me 15 pi, but we want it in a decimal. So if we convert that, it's 47,12, and as she said, the units is millimeters here. If you round it off to 1 decimal place, 47,1 millimeters, that's fine as well. Bolelo, do you have a question for, do you have a question? Do you have an answer for the next one, or do you have a question? Bolelo? Okay. Right, guys. So what I want is for everyone to have tried question D. Question D for Monday next week. Okay. So